what up you guys, welcome to the very first Q&A video on the build that isn't even complete. So since I started posting on Facebook, this build has generated so much interest and so many questions from you guys that it's actually hard to keep up with. So I thought it would be a good idea to do a Q&A video and have you guys submit your questions for me to answer. So here we are. I think let's not waste any more time and just get right into it. So our first question is from Boston Tillery. What are your plans with the car and what do you want to do with it? Well, just like any car that we own, we really want to use it. Some guys like to take it on trailer to car shows, but in this case, I want to build a nice car that I can actually use and, pull big burnout and, take it to the track a few times if I want to, show it off and just be proud of the work that I've put into it. Our next question is from Nathan Sims 94. What made you think a V12 would fit and how many times did you wish you never started it? So it's not the first time that a V12 has been swapped in a Miata, so I don't really think that's something that you would find questionable if it is or isn't going to work. And usually when you take on a project and it doesn't really go as planned, you kind of work around it and get everything to fit. To be honest, I don't really ever wish I never started it. Since I've carried on with the project, there have been a few times where I frustrated myself just because my level of OCD is through the roof. So I want everything to be perfect. There was at one stage when I was doing the 12:1 headers where I thought, damn, I've really bitten off more than I can chew, but I really just had to carry on with it and see it through. So we have a question from Just Floor It. Did you custom build the intake or was it bought? And what transmission are you using? So this intake system was not bought, it's fully custom built. You can actually go back in the videos to some time back. You'll see where I made a video on building the intake. That's what I've done. And the transmission that I'm using is a 5-speed Toyota gearbox manual. Okay, we have a question from Cooper Naitove. How much did the engine weigh before the install and what is the weight distribution expected to be? So you can probably go look online. These 1GZs weigh somewhere around, I don't know, like 550 pounds. I'm guessing that's around the 300 kilogram mark. And weight distribution, well, obviously I would like it to be 50-50, but that's definitely not going to happen. So I'd be happy to settle with around 60-40. You've got to keep in mind that other things have happened to try and keep the balance as best as it possibly could be. Yeah, we have a question from Yeti Runner. What is your end goal with the Miata?
To take over the world!
Show car, racing or for fun? So as I said, you really just want to use the vehicle, but I want it to be something that covers really everything. So you want this car to perform well, you want it to shred its tires, you want it to look good. Another thing that I really want from this vehicle is to use it as a marketing tool, just to really show the skill that was involved in having this build, hence the 12:1 collector. We have a good question from Chris is lame. Did you have any inspiration for this project? This project in particular, not actually, but all the work that I've done on it, yes. So I don't know if you guys know Kindig Customs. The work that they do is incredible, and I try and carry over that sort of creative mindset into this build. So 5-speed Sora wants to know, how long have you wanted to do this and how long have you been working on it? With these sort of projects, it's not really something that you necessarily want to do. You play with a lot of different ideas and one day you just decide to go for something that takes you the best. I've been working on this vehicle since 2017. And I must say this whole pandemic shutdown time, specifically the shutdown, has kind of been a blessing in disguise for me because it gives me all the time that I've had up until now to invest in the project, just because work is kind of slow. So it's been almost 3 years up to date now. Project NA8 is asking, what transmission and diff are you running with this beast? So I don't really know if it's that much of a beast just yet. Once we get it running, we'll see what it's like. So the transmission is a 5-speed Hilux Toyota gearbox. The differential is a BMW M3. Yeah, we have a question from Chapster29. What type and size exhaust pipe did you use for the runners? So I use pretty much like a standard 1.5 inch thin wall stainless steel tube. It's a 304. So Slaven wants to know why the V12. I can't actually tell you why. Fat02JZ is asking, when you bought the motor, did you change any parts in it? Now that's a good question. When you do these sort of engine swaps, I always feel it's important to change as many serviceable parts as you can, obviously according to your budget, but you got to be clever about it in what parts you do change if you are working on a tight budget. So obviously all the seals that you can replace and gaskets, most importantly. You don't want to go and put the engine in and just to find that's having all these unnecessary leaks that you could have dealt with while the engine was out. Here we have a question from Austin West, and this is a really good question. Are these all equal length? And what are your plans for the rest of the exhaust? So yes, all of the primaries are equal length, within 5% between the longest and the shortest. So I think those are really good numbers. You must probably find that when guys claim a header system to be equal length, I still think that there is like certain perimeters that the lengths can fall within them being not 100% equal length. And for the rest of the exhaust, I really can't say just yet, just because so many ideas come to mind. So sometimes I think about the NASCAR boom tubes. Sometimes I think about having side X as exhaust in the front bumper. Sometimes I think about it just going straight to the ground. I can't tell you right now. So Will C wants to know, what's the point of the 12-into-1 exhaust? Why not a normal style? So the 12-into-1 was mostly done for the sound as well as the complementary looks. As you can see, it's a real wow factor, and a normal style manifold would have been a lot easier to do. As I said, the 12-into-1 is really done for the sound, and I know if I went with a traditional style, the sound would never be there, and so wouldn't the flare. So guys, this is probably one of the best questions, and it comes from Ewan Campbell. Gallo 12 or Gallo 24?
Gallo 12 or Gallo 24? 24.
Definitely, without a doubt, Gallo 24. And what transmission and diff? And as I previously mentioned, it's a 5-speed Hilux gearbox with an M3 diff. So this handle is from YouTube. It's at Super SaiyanSaugod. I want to know the location of the radiator, and have I thought about putting a muffler on?
Well, you know the old expression, nope.
So I already mentioned about the exhaust pipe. I'm not too sure what route I'm going to go. And the radiator will still be in the front, just behind the front bumper cover. So Project Poobox, I can't swear on the YouTubes, they're asking, what made you think V12 is a good idea? I never thought a V12 is a good idea, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, we have a question from Nathan Shizek. What inspired you to do V12 and how long has it taken? So I've been working on this particular project for almost 3 years now. This year, probably July, August will be 3 years on this vehicle. And as I said, this downtime with the whole outbreak has been a real blessing in disguise for me to put all this time that I already have into this build to get it where I want it to be. So Ray is asking, how big is your engine?
Really large, massive, huge, huge, huge.
Pretty big, but it's actually a 5-litre 1G ZFE that comes from the Toyota Century. For any of you guys that want to go and check the specs on that engine. So I hope you guys are satisfied with the answers that I've given you. All of you guys have asked really good questions on the specs of the vehicle and where this project is heading, so now you know. So I'm surprised that none of you guys actually sent a question into my DM on the Instagram. Many of you guys have been concerned with the heat of these auxiliary belts and everything that goes inside there. I'm sure I've showed in the other videos, but there's quite a lot of distance between all the hot parts of the exhaust and everything else. You can't really see right now because it's so dark, but as I said, I don't believe heat would be a real issue with all the stuff in front there. Maybe on the plastic parts, but I highly doubt that it's going to be as hot as what we actually think.